Global markets are navigating shifting monetary policy with dovish signals spelling greater appetite for risk assets such as cryptocurrency. And San Jose headquarter OKX is making its move, launching the first stablecoin scan-to-pay service, OKX Pay, here in Singapore. And the US Genius Act also adding fresh fuel to its stablecoin ambitions. So, can stablecoins go beyond just being trading tools? CNA's Elizabeth New joins us now for more.
Thanks for that, Ella. And the question is whether Southeast Asia can be ground zero for crypto's next growth wave. And to find out more, we have Gracie Lin. She is the Singapore CEO at SGX. Gracie, thanks for joining us today. So I just want to start off talking about some key developments in the stablecoin space in particular. So we're talking about OKX Pay. We're also going to see the launch of XSGD, which is also the first dollar-backed stablecoin. So these are pretty big developments for the entire crypto space. And I wonder if, this coming after MAS finalized the stablecoin framework about in 2023, so a couple of years from then, it was seen as ahead of the game at that point, even ahead of the US, Hong Kong, for example. But we're only seeing actual tangible products right now. What do you make of this timeline, first of all?
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. You're right, there's been a lot happening in the stablecoin space, and we're very excited to be a part of it. OKX Pay being just one of many ways that we are looking at how to integrate stablecoin into providing real-world utility to our users in Singapore and outside of Singapore as well. You were right to also point out that MAS was ahead of its time in pushing out stablecoin regulation guidelines ahead of their global peers. But what we are seeing now is actually really encouraging signs that global standards are starting to come down. Across the major markets, regulators are thinking about what they want to put in place to ensure that stablecoin development continues in a sustainable, responsible way, while still ensuring that it can bring the type of utility to payments, to FX conversion, to cross-border trade settlement, all of these good things, while making sure that people who interact with stablecoin are going to be protected. And that's why I feel like there's been this big global push towards high-quality asset-backed stablecoins, and it's all really because it's been a combination of everything, right? The regulators taking notice and deciding what standards they want to put in place and being clear to communicate that, as well as the real-world use cases starting to really come to the foreground, and institutions in particular. Institutions are starting to adopt these, integrating them into how they do everything: risk management, trade settlement, cross-border transactions. So very, very encouraging and exciting times for us right now.
Yeah, indeed. It opens, the doors to plenty of opportunities for these for stablecoins to be used as various forms of payment and in various services. Where do you see stablecoins fitting into Singapore's broader digital currency landscape in, I would say, the medium term? And how is OKX Singapore positioning itself amid this shifting global liquidity?
Well, Singapore is a very interesting place to do all of this out of, right? I mean, we've always been a hub for finance, and now we are a hub for digital assets. And I feel like stablecoin is kind of the backbone and the bridge between the two. So being able to figure out what to do with stablecoins in a place where we have both a very strong traditional finance infrastructure as well as a very strong and growing and evolving digital asset infrastructure is what makes this space really exciting for us in Singapore. So if you want to be able to bridge digital assets into traditional finance, so for example, let's go back to OKX Pay, right? That's one example. These merchants at the end of it are not Web3 ready. They don't accept stablecoin. The user has stablecoin. So we built the bridge. It's an infrastructure play, right? We built the bridge, and for those users who have stablecoin and want to use stablecoin for the daily use, they can, and then the merchant doesn't have to change anything on their side. So again, just because we have such strong infrastructure across both traditional finance and digital assets, Singapore is a fantastic place to try and bridge everything together using stablecoin.
So there is an extra boost from the US's Genius Act. And so when we look at the global stablecoin market, how do you see, this act kind of reshaping it? What does this mean for exchanges like OKX? And do you think you could see OKX adjusting its USD stablecoin rails or, issue partnerships for US issuers? And how will all of that action kind of spill over to liquidity for, say, the Singapore market, for one?
The US regulators getting into this has been obviously a big boost to US dollar stablecoins, but honestly, US dollar stablecoins were already on the rise before. So what I think is really important about the Act is that it now sets a very, very clear standard, which is going to be adopted globally because it's the US, a very clear global standard then on what type of stablecoins we should be looking at. It's got to be high quality, it's got to be fully asset-backed. So that clarity is good for all players, including ourselves. And then now we know which partners to work with. Now we know how to integrate that into the service offering for our users.
Yeah, and with further monetary easing expected, how do you see global monetary policy kind of shaping liquidity, risk asset as well in crypto markets, and what kind of impact do you think we could see?
Stablecoins, again, are at the core of that, right? Because, well, in the past, generally digital assets didn't really move in line with monetary policy. But now, because US dollar stablecoins are, again, kind of the backbone, you may say, right, of that bridge between digital assets and traditional finance. So when the US, when the Federal Reserve decides what they want to do with interest rates, it does have that link now to digital assets because your big US dollar stablecoins then start to move in tandem, and that obviously will have an impact on the rest of the digital asset space. Of course, there are other factors at play, both macro and as well as project specific, but then that's how then monetary policy, US monetary policy in particular, is then having that transmission channel to digital assets.
All right, Gracie, many thanks for sharing your insights with us. That was Gracie Lin there. She is CEO of OKX Singapore, and that's it from me for now. Ella, it's back to you.
Thank you for the very insightful discussion. Elizabeth Neo reporting from Token 2049 here in Singapore.